Hello, and welcome to Voices in Education. I am your host, Natasha Lee. Hello, and welcome to another live. In this one, we're going to be sharing about, the Reggae Girls. And as you perhaps know by now, there's an upcoming match or game on October 25, and that's just next week, a few days from today. And the news that we have received or that is out there in mainstream media is that the 2023 World Cup Reggae Girls, so the players who were a part of that, squad, I believe about 22, they are unavailable for the CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifier. And again, their first match is on October 25th, and that's going to be up against Panama, I believe. And so I'm going to just, based on that, the girls, they decided that, we're unavailable for this one. And as a result, the JFF suspends, the players indefinitely. That's the information that we have received. So we'd love to hear your views on this one, given that, Jamaica is going to play soon. Do you believe that the team that has been, I guess, put together by the new coach, and again, would that team be ready to take on Panama? So would love to hear from you in this context, what are your views? And soon I'll be sharing. So I want to share with you this update from Instagram, and this was from Khadijah's Instagram page. And I'm going to read this letter that has been circulating, and it's really from the girls. It is with great disappointment we share that the 2023 World Cup roster will not be participating in the upcoming October international window for the first ever Women's Gold Cup qualifiers. While this has been one of the hardest decisions we have had to make, we feel it is necessary to take such a drastic stance to put an end to the constant mistreatment we receive from the Jamaica Football Federation. As always, it is an honor and a privilege to represent Jamaica. It is our job to perform to the best of our ability and put all of our efforts into representing our country, making our fans, loved ones at home and in the diaspora proud. Due to the current circumstances the Jamaica Football Federation has put us in, we would not be able to do our job. We have received information about our coaching staff, medical staff, and equipment staff in an untimely manner and through unprofessional communication. We have gotten confirmation of our head coach 3 days prior to our report date through social media, despite our efforts to have direct communication with the JFF. We have yet to receive full and correct payments for our historical performances at the World Cup and the numerous outstanding bonuses for qualifying in the summer of 2022. We have dealt with this lack of communication, poor organization, poor management, and delayed payments from the JFF time and time again. For these reasons, we take our stance in solidarity with hope to end this cycle of mistreatment. With love, your Reggae Girlz. So basically, that is the communication, coming from the Reggae Girlz. So I'm not sure in the context of the timeline, but the first information that I got was that the girls, were unavailable for this, qualifying game on October 25th. Then I saw JFF, saying, okay, we're going to suspend them. They're suspended. And so I'm just going to check to see here, what I can get from the JFF to share with you. I'm just looking. I know there's an article, but I just wanted to see, and perhaps let me just go to my community tab for this one. I shared earlier there. So let me just go to the community tab. Welcome, welcome. If you're just tuning in, welcome. I'm not sure how long this one will go. It all depends on the interaction. All right, so in this one, on my community tab here, and this was from Sportsmat. So Jamaica Football Federation, in a release on Friday, announced the suspension of selection for all 22 players until they meet with the Federation's hierarchy to resolve all issues regarding payments, among other things. All right, so that one was pretty much from Friday. I'm looking in the chat. Welcome, Kiwi. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing? And so this is really, this is really a big, what would I say, mess, right? Given that they're going to play on the 25th of October. That is next week, Wednesday. All right, Jamaica is going to go up against Panama, right? And then I believe a few days after it will be Guatemala in Jamaica. So I am wondering, and I'm going to read this, Sportsmax article as well. And Kiwi saying it's good there. Awesome, awesome. All right, so members, and this article is from Sportsmax. Members of Jamaica's senior Reggae Girls FIFA Women's World Cup squad remain resolute in their latest standoff with the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF, as they point out that withdrawing from the upcoming CONCACAF Women's Gold Cup qualifying fixtures was a last resort to end the cycle of mistreatment they have endured under the Michael Ricketts-led administration. The girls, in a widely circulated statement released via social media on Saturday, so that's a statement that I just read, said the decision to bypass the October international window for games against Panama and Guatemala was difficult but necessary given the circumstances under which they were asked to report for duty. Those circumstances to which the girls refer include the fact that interim head coach Xavier Gilbert was appointed late Thursday, a mere 4 days before the team is expected to arrive in Panama for the October 25th game. Gilbert has since assembled a makeshift squad for that game, as well as the October 29th meeting with Guatemala at the National Stadium. All right, and this is a quote here, I believe, from Gilbert, and I quote, "While this has been one of the hardest decisions," no, this is from the girls, I read that already. And so aside from the alleged short notice, the girls again called out the JFF for its unprofessionalism and disorganization in the way they communicate and by extension manage the country's football affairs. All right, this as contrary to reports that the JFF have paid World Cup money in full between Thursday and Friday, the girls revealed that they are yet to receive full and correct payments for their historic round of 16 run at the global showpiece, coupled with numerous outstanding bonuses for last year's qualification. All right, so I read those sections from the article. The girls' statement came as a direct response to a JFF release on Friday, which stated that they have suspended any selection of the players in question until these issues are resolved. The JFF, and I quote, "The JFF is uncomfortable with the response of the players and the non-attendance of the player representatives to a scheduled meeting. The JFF is eager to clear up all the concerns that team members may have in accordance with the contracts. If there is a grievance or concern, this must be placed squarely on the table to be addressed and documented to the JFF, the country's governing football body," release stated. All right, so issues there, and let me see here. Kiwi saying JFF needs to resign. And, lots of trouble. We have been hearing about, these things, and it also brings us back to, Lauren Donaldson, and perhaps, as, Lauren Donaldson is always speaking out or speaking up for the girls. And so the girls now, they're here and perhaps saying to themselves, okay, we need to do this for ourselves. And you notice it was this togetherness. So it's not like, okay, one person is not showing up. It's the entire squad from that World Cup qualifier All right, so would love to hear from you if you'd like to share more on this context. If not, this is going to be a quick one just to share with you, what is happening, what I am seeing there. And perhaps I'll try to share some comments with you as well. And one here, it is as simple as ABC. Michael Ricketts and Dennis Strong, has to go, or, no, if, but, or maybe. Jamaica, beg you, pack your bags and go. All right. For the love of God. All right. So we're just seeing that one. And let's just see somebody here saying, but the Reggae Girls played Canada at the National Stadium September 25th and in Canada September 29th. Why not address these issues before those matches? So I guess this is another good question there. Somebody here responding, he who feels it knows it. There no special time to take a stand. All right. So just looking at some comments here. Somebody can't ask R to step down and stop playing with the girls, passion of representing their country. You should resign and leave the federation immediately. And somebody's saying, fire all of them. They can't hold the whole country, I guess, to ransom. And somebody, I guess, asking, so basically they turned their backs on Jamaica. And somebody's saying, yes, the JFF needs to be suspended. Fire R and its cronies. Okay. Minarang them. Yes. So I guess most of the comments here are in support of the girls. And, they have been recalling some players and also, some younger players, I guess, stepping up. So this is another question here. So Mr. Ricketts plans to suspend the girls that refuse call-up. I wonder who will suspend him and the JFF for not meeting their commitments to the girls and boys. All right, there we go. And someone here is saying the show must go on with or without them. All the best, girls. And again, just some comments there for sure. So it's just unfortunate to hear or see what is happening in this context. And, perhaps, not having Donaldson, this was something that was building. And I guess that's what the person perhaps was referring to when they asked, why weren't, this, or why wasn't this stance taken, in September there when they played Canada. And so, and even after, I'm not sure what was happening behind the scenes. I cannot comment on that. But to say, you waited until this opportunity. But I guess what the girls have pointed out, like, they did not know who the coach would be. And they learned about that in the media. So I guess they have some issues there for sure. And I guess perhaps that person was referring to perhaps the girls are just not happy with the fact that Lauren is out. And I don't know, but this one is definitely not what we would want to hear, because in everything we want our best team to be representing the country, to be going off. But again, as persons, we have, we have the right to do or not do. And so they have exercised that in the context they are not available to play for the country at this time. And again, that is unfortunate. But, sometimes if we fail to stand, sometimes we'll just fall for anything. And so in this context, I am happy to see, you know, women standing up for themselves. And that is awesome. Black women, women in this case, or you'll say girls, because we refer to them as, the reggae girls, standing up for themselves in the context of, what is right. And if they feel, that they have been mistreated, which is what they're saying based on the letter, then they have all right to stand up for themselves in that way. In the context of the country, sorry, I'm not sure how you're going to create that balance. And it's obvious, it's just like when we go to a job, and for some of us, we might be very sick and we show up there, just trying to work. But if something should happen to you, you can be replaced. And we see that the girls are not, available based on what they said. They're calling up other players and they're trying to get a team together. So it's not like they're begging them to come back and play. And it would be nice for, some clarity to be brought to this matter in the context of, what is happening. Obviously, there is some lack of communication, perhaps from either side. I don't know, but we would like to see that, because we're seeing this communication out on, for example, social media, in mainstream media. That's where we're seeing. So JFF is putting out something, the girls, they're putting out something. So you're seeing that, as opposed to the parties, I guess, coming together and trying to resolve this one. So would love to hear from you, what are your views on this development? You can definitely comment in the chat and, share. Would love to hear from you in the context of, do you believe the girls should make themselves unavailable? Do you believe the JFF should suspend them indefinitely because they have made themselves unavailable? Would love to hear from you. So you can definitely share away in the chat. And let me just check the chat one more time to see if there is any comment there. Let me just check. And if you're new to this space, hit the like button, hit the subscription button, and I'm not seeing any person, anyone calling, and I doubt I am missing a call. So please remember to hit the like button. All right, so I'm just checking the chat here. Not seeing any new comments in the chat. So welcome. If you're just tuning in, we're pretty much going to wrap this one up, because I'm not seeing any new comments and I am not getting any calls. So let me just check my system here. Right, not missing any calls. Right, so that's pretty much what is happening. That's pretty much what is happening right now in the context of the Reggae Girls. So again, just to let you know, if you're just tuning in, so the 22 member squad from the 2023 World Cup, Reggae Girls, so that went on to the round of 16 there. They're unavailable. They, for the CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifier. And the first game is with Panama. So I believe they're unavailable for Panama and Guatemala games. All right. So what has happened? The JFF suspended the girls, and I believe I saw that it was indefinitely pending, I guess some clarity being brought to this situation. And so I would love to hear your views, do you believe that the girls, their decision, what are your views on the girls' decision and the JFF? What are your views on their decision as well in the context of the suspension there? Would love to hear from you. And also, what are your views on Jamaica in the context of facing Panama next week, Wednesday, on the 25th of October, and then Guatemala on the 29th? What can be done, for the JFF and the girls to resolve, all the issues? Because it's not the first time that we are hearing about, issues when they went to the World Cup. We saw, the video there and what was happening in the context of GoFundMe. And so would love to hear, from you. So you can definitely share away in the chat. All right. So we're definitely, going to, I guess, close this one out right now, but we'd love to hear from you. So you can definitely comment in the chat and just share your views. All right. I'm just checking the chat one more time. All right, no new comments yet, but this was just a quick roundup of, what is happening with the girls. Would have loved to hear more from you, but, such is life sometimes. It's okay. You can definitely share, if you're watching this video after the live ends, definitely share in the chat. And Kaylee, thank you so much for coming over and, just sharing there in the chat. Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will definitely see you in the next live. So remember to give this video a like, all right, share, hit the subscription button, and let us continue to grow together. I'm seeing, who are you referring to, Kiwi? All right, I'll just wait on Kiwi there to explain, to just expand that question. No, the game is not canceled. So my understanding, what I've seen is that the new coach, all right, so the coach for the time, Xavier Gilbert. So Gilbert, and thanks for asking this question because it just triggers something else now that I did not share earlier. So Gilbert is pretty much calling up some players from 2019, when they first, went to the World Cup there. And I guess would it be now, under 20, that squad there. So they're trying to put together, assemble a team to play Panama next Wednesday, and I guess Guatemala on the 29th. So too, I was told that, the girls, so Gilbert apparently was one of the assistant to Donaldson. So there are some others who, I guess, the JFF suspended or whose contract is not renewed. Were not renewed in that context. So I'm not too sure. So obviously some things are happening. So some persons or assistant that was on the technical team with Donaldson, they are not a part of the support team going forward with the game on Wednesday. All right. So I saw that somewhere too in that context. So it's messy. It's a messy situation, and I see your comment there. They need, new management. That's what KW saying. It's definitely a messy situation, and something is definitely off. And I'm not sure what's going to be the best way moving forward, and perhaps leadership change. And sometimes as leaders too, we need to know when to walk away. And because if it is that your leadership is not, moving an organization forward, and there is so much issues, like, I don't know how you just stay in that context. How you just stay in that context. Okay, you were elected, so I'm just going to stay and do my time, regardless of the results, or what might be happening with the players. So in that context, I believe, leaders should have that quality where, if it is that my presence is not something that people want, then perhaps, I just need to move away from this one. But oftentimes, some of us is like, okay, we need to fight this. I am in charge. I am the boss. And so because you have power, and I'm just speaking generally here, you decide that I am going to do this my way. And leadership for me, it should be collaborative, right? It has to be persons, working with you, sharing. And if that is not a part of it, then I don't see how it's going to be effective. And you can think about organizations, you can think about schools. And if you have, like, let's say a school, and the principal, if the principal is not having, good relationships with the staff, the teachers, then perhaps, the school won't be as successful as it can be. And because the teachers, they're the ones, they're in the classroom, they're in the field. Without the teachers, you're not going to get certain results that you want. So if you have teachers who are unhappy and who are stressed in the work environment, they're not going to show up. They might take, their days off, their sick leave, and so then you have the students, being affected, and then the grades. And so that is going to reflect on you, I guess, poorly in some ways as the leader. And so it is important. It is definitely important in terms of collaboration. And sometimes we feel as if we need to, because of the power and what comes with the role as the leader, we feel like, okay, it's either my way or the highway. It's either your DO or your GO. So in this context, you realize that, oh, so unavailable. All right, we are suspend indefinitely. I believe I saw that somewhere, the indefinitely part. And it's as if we're not beg enough to come play. We're not begging, We just have a deal. We don't know. We're suspending. How dare you say you're not available? We're going to suspend you. And and that's where the power comes in. It becomes now more like a battle. So instead of, okay, they are not available, instead of perhaps trying to reach out, I'm not sure if this was done, but just saying, instead of parties coming together, we're seeing that, there's more in terms of the distance, and a lot is being communicated over social media, mainstream media, as opposed to parties coming together and trying to move forward in terms of resolving this situation. And I see Kiwi there saying too much problems there, for sure. Lots happening. And, again, we would like to see the best. Definitely like to see the best. Well, I see the number is increasing. So let me just stick around some more to see if persons would like to share. So welcome if you're just tuning in. Welcome, welcome. Please hit the like button and the subscription button. And if you'd like to call, the number is on screen. So I'm just checking here. All right, perhaps I should just read that letter from the girls again for you. And this was posted, I believe, today on Instagram, so on Shaw's page. And I'll read for you. First, let me just get something to drink here. My throat is not feeling the best right now, so let me just try to do this for you again. So it is with great disappointment we share that the 2023 World Cup roster will not be participating in the upcoming October international window for the first ever Women's Gold Cup qualifiers. While this has been one of the hardest decisions we have had to make, we feel it is necessary to take such a drastic stance to put an end to the constant mistreatment we receive from the Jamaica Football Federation. As always, it is an honor and a privilege to represent Jamaica. It is our job to perform to the best of our ability and put all of our efforts into representing our country, making our fans, loved ones at home and in the diaspora proud. Due to the current circumstances the Jamaica Football Federation has put us in, we would not be able to do our job. We have received information about our coaching staff, medical staff, and equipment staff in an untimely manner and through unprofessional communication. We have gotten confirmation of our head coach 3 days prior to our report date through social media, despite our efforts to have direct communication with the JFF. We have yet to receive full and correct payments for our historical performances at the World Cup and the numerous outstanding bonuses for qualifying in the summer of 2022. We have dealt with this lack of communication, poor organization, poor management, and delayed payments from the JFF time and time again. For these reasons, we take our stance in solidarity with hope to end this cycle of mistreatment. With love, your Reggae Girls. All right, so that's pretty much the letter there. And so in this letter, there are quite a few issues. So one big is that the mistreatment. So they make reference to mistreatment, and it looks as if, in the context of, I guess, the coach too, not hearing from the JFF directly. They said they learn about their head coach in the media, social media. And in terms of payments, they mentioned that they are yet to receive full and correct payments for their historical performances. And another issue is the lack of communication, poor organization, poor management, and the payments and delayed payments. All right, from the JFF time and time again. So they're saying this is not the first time. And so the big issues here, lack of communication, poor organization, poor management, and delayed payments. So pretty much the main issues. All right, let me just double check to see if I'm missing any further updates that I can share with you before we go. I'm just checking here. And let me see in the chat. Not seeing any new comments in the chat. So I can share with you that 3 players who are currently in Chile for the Pan American Games have been called back by the JFF to play the 2 Gold Cup qualifying ties against Panama and Guatemala. The Federation released a squad this afternoon with no members of the history-making World Cup squad named among the 23 players. Destiny Powell, Chanel Buckley, and Christian Chambers will leave the squad in Chile and join up with the rest of the squad in Panama on Monday. The Reggae Girls, as we know, will face Panama next Wednesday before flying back to Kingston for the showdown with Guatemala on the 29th. So, so just some worries there for the, well, some persons will say, okay, the JFF put themselves in this position, right? I'm just checking here, guys. All right, welcome, welcome. If you're just tuning in, welcome. So I'm just checking to see what else might be there in terms of an update. In the context of this development between the Reggae Girls and the JFF. All right, let me just see in the chat there, not seeing any new comments. So just looking at the Gleaner here, interim Reggae Girls head coach Xavier Gilbert expects an uphill task when they face Panama away and Guatemala at home in the opening matches of the Women's Gold Cup qualifiers. All right, so I guess we understand, why that would be a tough battle there. So in the context of the team, the Gleaners learned that 19 players from Europe, United States, and some local-based players have accepted late invitations for the October 25th match in Panama and against Guatemala on October 29th at the National Stadium. The return games for these 2 ties will be on November 29, Panama at home, and December 3rd, Guatemala away. Only 6 of the players called up have played at the senior level before. They are goalkeeper Christian Chambers, defenders Malike Days, Alika Keane, and Jada Ilton, and midfielders Chinelu Asha and Marlo Sweatman. Asha and Sweatman were members of the Reggae Girls squad at the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup in France. With only a few days to get the team organized, Gilbert is aware of the magnitude of the task and is trying to take things in stride. Gilbert is saying here, it is going to be tough, but it is what it is. I can only control what I can control. There is so much we can do. We just have to try and get them organized. All right, so in that context too, do you believe that the team will gel just to play? And here, the good thing is that some of them, new players, have played together before. There are some with international experience. Some have represented at the under 20 level, and some played in the World Cup qualifiers but did not make the final squad. So they would have some experience playing at the under 20 level and some at the senior level before. It is an uphill task, but we will see our best we can deal with it. All right, so just some situation there. So in that context too, do you believe that Jamaica is ready for Panama? Would that be a good game for us? Or, I can't say because I don't know these players, so I definitely cannot speak to that. But for sure, you can share, in the chat, you can definitely share there. All right, so let me just refresh my chat here just to see if I'm missing any comments. And perhaps not, but just to double check. Okay, I'm seeing Rurian here saying, what is really happening? And Kiwi, so they won't have the best players. No, they won't. So I'm not sure what is going on with my chat. So again, JFF messed up another program. Seeing your comment there, Kiwi. Thanks for sharing. So, it's just unfortunate. That this is happening at this time. But on a positive note, I guess I can share with you some the Costa Cup scores. And if you were joining us, earlier today, we brought you two games, so commentaries for those games. So, and for the Costa Cup, we're now in the second round. All right, so in the game between Horace Clark, Dintil 2-0. Monroe, Manchester, 1-0 in favor of Manchester. Port Antonio Mannings, Port Antonio, 1-0 in favor of Port Antonio. William Nib and Central, 0-0. All right, the Carteret and Clarendon College, 8-0 in favor of Clarendon College. Christiana and Rossies, 3-0 in favor of Christiana. This was a big one for me today. Ocherius and Happy Grove. Happy Grove, 2-1 in favor of Happy Grove. Belair and Mile Gully, 1-1. So that's a draw there. Taki and Cedric Titus, 0-0. Cornwall and Black River, 3-1 in favor of Cornwall. McGrath and Edwin Allen, 1-0 in favor of McGrath. And Ver and From Tech, 4-1 in favor of From. And Garvey Maceo and St. Mary High, 7-0 in favor of Garvey Maceo. So some schools doing, extremely well, and definitely looking out for Clarendon College. They have had a good run so far, and they're the defending champions, by the way. And so looking out for them. So right now they're doing the first leg, so they'll have home and away games. So they'll play each other twice, in this round. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So in the second round, we have 32 teams here, and we're just excited to see what is happening. And these players, they are not unavailable, and they're showing up and showing off. So ensure that you're supporting your schools, all right? And there's lots that Issa can do, but we'll leave that alone. Just ensure that you're showing up and supporting your schools. All right, let me just refresh to see if there is any new comments in this chat. For sure, we're not going to go beyond 9:30. So I'm just looking. Okay, not seeing any new comments here. Yeah, so that's pretty much what is happening there with the JFF and the girls. And, as always, we'd like to see some solution, reaching an agreement, something. Not too sure what is happening. I see Ruben there, shake me head. Not too sure what is happening, but would love to see some agreement, some agreement being reached and where this can be solved, because the girls, they have been doing so well despite not, getting into the Olympic Games. They have done really well, and we would want to see Jamaica, at its best, there on the world stage for sure. But one can understand too what the players are facing, and you realize it's not just one player coming out to talk. This team really, they have, that togetherness, and so it's everyone, it's everyone. It's not one person where, one person might be, I guess, singled out and say, okay, since you're this, all right, we're going to ensure that we do not select. It's like all 22. I believe one of them retired. The name not coming to me right now. But in this context, they're standing together and they're saying, okay, these are the issues, and we're tired. We're tired. We're tired of the JFF. And the JFF is pretty much saying, I guess they breached contract, so they suspended the girls, because I believe the only time that they can be unavailable if it's for medical reasons. So I'm not too sure there, but I believe that's the case. So the JFF went ahead and suspend the players. And I believe some of the other assistants who were supporting Lauren Donaldson, their contracts were not renewed. I believe that's the case there. I'm trying to remember where I saw that, but I believe that's the situation there. Let me see if I can find that source, but I believe that is the situation, in that context. So very unfortunate that, these things are happening. And let me see if I can find where I saw that. I'm just going to see. Perhaps it's in this. Let me just see here. I'm just looking at the comments too. Not seeing any. Not sure where I read that. Okay, it was from JFF. All right, so Jamaica's Reggae Girls, fresh from their historic last 16 appearance at the FIFA Women's World Cup, have been suspended indefinitely by the Jamaica Football Federation for breach of contract after they all revealed they would be unavailable for selection for the upcoming CONCACAF World Cup Women Gold Cup qualifiers. It comes in the wake of Lauren Donaldson's contract not being renewed by the JFF. It is further understood that all members of the technical staff except Xavier Gilbert will not have their contracts renewed. So this is from IRFM. I knew I read it somewhere, but I just wanted to point you to that source. So what we're seeing here, if this is the case, what we're seeing here, perhaps, so Lauren contract was not renewed. The girls are unavailable. They are now, suspended by JFF. And all the members of the technical staff except Xavier Gilbert, and Xavier is now the interim coach, head coach for the girls, will not have their contracts renewed. That is the information here. All right, so not sure what is going on there at JFF, but obviously, in the context of moving forward, in the context of success, then, something needs to be done there at JFF. I'm not sure what, because I do not have all the information in the context of what is happening inside and, the situations, but from the outside, I can say the optics are not good, in that context, for the JFF, it's just not looking good. And it is time, for us to, sometimes we see these bodies perhaps not doing the best that they should be doing for athletes. And that part is sad, right? That part is sad. So, we talk so much about track and field, and we saw that with the relay in terms of organization, and we can go there, and so we want, our athletes to thrive and to be successful in whatever they do, whether on the track, on the field. We want to see them, doing their best. And sometimes it's just the leadership. The leadership might not be visionary in some case. The leadership might, I don't want to use this word, so I'm just going to stop. But it is important to have good leadership. And good leadership is also, understanding that collaboration is important. It's also about, listening to all the voices. It should not be a top-down model where I am the leader, I tell you what to do, I give you what to do, and you're at the bottom, you're not able to say anything to us. And so it should not be that. All right, so thank you so much, guys, for coming over. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember to comment. So even after this, live ends, you can definitely share and comment. And again, we're just wishing all the parties involved, all the best. We do not want to see this mess, getting, I guess, messier. And so would love, that some agreement could be reached where, everyone is okay. So we want our players, our girls to be okay. If they have worked and they should get pay them. It is simple as that. So we want them to be okay, and we want, the best team to represent our country. But of course, we have to think about the girls' well-being first. For me, that's where it starts, So well-being, mental health, definitely important. So if this is what they're depending on to survive, to raise their families, to take care of their families, then we need to pay them. We need to pay them, right? And that is definitely important. So thanks again, and blessings and love. Ensure that you're taking care of yourself as well. Exercise self-care, and take care, everyone. I'll see you in the next live. Bye for now.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that you can listen to the different voices in education. Stay tuned.